Okay, so if we look at the sort of setup was very, very good. Okay, on occasions you did get a little bit leaning forward with the body. Okay, head don't want to get too far in front of the ball there. Okay, if the head's too far in front, you then almost got to try to back up to it, the golf ball, which is going to show where your hands then
central,
more over the ball. Yeah, exactly. The hips go a bit further forward, so your spine's going to be a little bit tilted there. Again, as with the driver, your hands are still below one another on the grip, so there should be a little bit of tilt there, just slightly. Okay. But in terms of setup, for the most part, very, very good. The issue was as you went back, your right arm got a little bit kind of locked. So you almost see your right shoulder sort of lifting up quite high there, and the club now sort of horizontal to the ground. Okay, sort of almost shoulder height down. I mean, you got kind of.
It's like full short height, isn't it?
Well, it's just like very lifty and locked. Okay. Now we did this sort of movement on the right hand side now with just your one arm. Okay, this will be a really, really good practice for you because you'll see as you go back now. So your arms will just soften on the way back there. That movement there is what you were trying to create in the golf swing, okay? Which you do on the full swing, just a little bit later. On the pitching, it wasn't happening enough. If it was a chip shot, you could go to here. We're okay. It's not too bad. The problem is, just look at that position there now. You can just about see the shaft of the golf club is kind of there. But your left arm now is there. So that club's kind of gone back and now is already ahead of the golf ball, I say ahead of the golf club. So when you come back to the golf ball now, okay, your hands now are slightly behind the golf ball, leaning back a little bit, which encourages that thin shot or the heavy shot, okay? So in terms of that hinging of the wrist, that was where you kind of got to there. You can see the difference there now, just sort of letting your arms swing back, okay? Nice softening of the arms as you go back and through, and then putting two hands on it there. Look at the difference in the club there. And look at your right arm there, so much softer. Again, it's not sticking into your body there, don't sort of suck it in so it's got nowhere to go. Just allow it to kind of just hinge as it wants to, okay? And then some swings there now. Then you kind of got comfortable with the setup, and this is the shot you then hit. This is about 36 yards, trying to go 35. You said you felt the club only went back to about there, okay, and obviously it goes back a bit further. But look at the difference in where your left arm is now. Left arm there, you've let your arm hinge up, the club now's above shoulder height, and your club gets horizontal to the ground, kind of there, got a hip height. Look at the difference in your right arm here. It's a bit darker, but you can see that right arm is very shrugged up, and that's generally going to create a lot of tension in your shoulders. Tough to control the club face in that position, okay? So allowing that right arm to soften here, very, very nice. As we come back to the golf ball, there's impact, and you can see your hand just slightly off that back foot, which is why a couple did go a bit to the left.
It needs to be.
Yeah, in time, we want to get that impact to be more sort of from a left shoulder position. Your hand should be on that line. We can see now, obviously, they're a little bit behind the ball. Not massively, but enough to just sort of cause a few pull shots. Yeah, exactly. As you come to the golf ball here now, a nice kind of, and that movement there looks a lot more natural, free flowing compared to this one here, where it looks a bit sort of like very wooden and almost a bit mechanical, trying to like keep my arms locked and straight. And it works when the club's only going this far.
But
okay. And when you go in a full swing, your arms can nowhere near do that, so they have to bend. But it's when they got to bend from here on the way back, they just don't. So if we can get that arms just softening a little bit as you go back, helps create a bit more kind of, just a more relaxed swing, just a more free sort of flowing swing of the golf club. Your arms aren't locking and tensing up. You can create the movement you want to make, and then you can start controlling the club and then controlling the distance. And I'd practice this sort of these different shots here now, where you hit a shot where you start off and I'm going to go 10 yards, okay, so my swing's only going to go, it's about there. There's your 10-yard kind of swing. The right arm, even there, the right arm's starting to soften a little bit. There's your 10-yard. There's your 20-yard. You can see your right arm now has already bent to start, which is good. There's your 30-yard. If you want to go further, there's a 40 and a bit further beyond, obviously. You start creating sort of checkpoints. So there's 35, there's 20, there's 10 with your left arm. As you want to go further, your left arm wants to go higher around your body. You decide where on that kind of mark are you going to swing to. Okay, am I going to swing to here, to here, to here, wherever? And once you get a consistency, a strike, then judging distance will be a lot easier. But you saw on that game, the 10-yard shot, you were 12 foot from the flag. The 20-yard shot, you were 6 foot from the flag. The 30-yard shot, you missed the green. The 40-yard shot got close because it went on the ground, and the last two were fullish swings, were actually pretty good. It's learning that kind of element in between the gap there. Okay. Yeah, exactly. But as we said, the short game from previous lesson was obviously much improved. where you can, I hate to use the word get away with it obviously, but yeah, when you can make a swing that's only this far,
Yeah.
a chip shot is okay because the right arm doesn't need to bend.
Yeah.
When the right arm has to start softening eventually, if
Yeah.
it just stays so locked and rigid and wooden, you got no control.
But when I do my tiny chip shots, that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping
Yeah,
very
yeah.
But I can still be loose.
Well, I think
Even the tiny.
if you're looser, but you won't need to bend it because the club. I mean, I think when you're putting, your right elbow's not going to bend on a putt, but the arm's not going to go back far enough to need to bend. It's not that it doesn't bend or whatever. It just doesn't be in a position where it has to bend. Okay, but you're not locking it into submission where it can't. Yeah. The thing is, if I lock my right arm and get very stiff in the right arm so it can't bend, a chip shot where it doesn't need to bend is okay.
Yeah.
When it has to bend, it's struggling.
Yeah.
On a chip shot, my arm's still able to bend, it doesn't need to. So I'm not going to sort of do this on a short swing, but as the club progresses further back, the arm's going to start just setting a little bit as you go back there. So, okay, makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Really good.
Very, very good.
Practice tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly, definitely, yeah.
I would today, but I got my brain party. You know, got to do what I got to do.
Indeed.